Absolutely delighted to say a big welcome to Steph. Steph is joining us from Edge Hill University, and Steph is a student recruitment assistant, and one of the subjects she looks after is business. So Steph is very much a business expert and is going to give us a guide to business courses today. I'll leave it there because I'm very conscious you don't want to be hearing from me, you want to be hearing from Steph, but Steph's presentation is going to be looking at why study business at university. So Steph's going to look at reasons to consider business courses, but as well as that, she's going to give you some of the key skills that really are required on university courses in business as well. So Steph, without further ado, the floor is yours, please.
Thanks very much, John. So hi everybody, like John said, I'm Steph from Edge Hill University. I graduated in 2019 from the university, so if you've got any questions about kind of student life, I'm happy to answer those as well. Apologies if I sound a little bit nasally, I have got a little bit of a cold, but hopefully that won't impact us too much. So let me just get the PowerPoint up to show you, and we'll get started. So I'll run over kind of the different things we'll cover and then get into it. So like I said, I'm Steph from Edge Hill, but I am going to be talking very generally to you today about the different things that you can come across when you're looking for universities to go to. So we'll have a look at kind of why you might want to study business. You might be studying just business at college at the minute, or you might have a few different A-levels or BTECs, and you might be trying to choose between which is your favourite. We'll have a look at why business might be the one that you go with. Have a look at the different transferable skills, what to expect on a business degree, because you might not really know what a degree is, how they work and how they're structured. Then we'll have a little bit of a student opportunities talk, see the different things that you can get from university. Then I'll touch a tiny bit on careers and employability, but Angelica will touch more on that in her talk. A little bit about application tips, what universities might look for when you're wanting to apply, and things to consider as you continue your journey looking for a university. So thinking about why would you study a business related degree? One of the things that drives people to go to university is that opportunity to earn a greater salary. That doesn't mean that you're going to be on like the best money as soon as you graduate, but what it does mean is that you learn the skills and have the opportunities to go out into the graduate market and find those jobs that will pay you a greater salary, because you have had those opportunities that you might not have had if you hadn't have gone to university. So it's kind of a two-way thing. If you work for being able to get that higher salary, you'll kind of reap what you sow. You have the opportunity to find like-minded people as well. You might have a really great group of friends at home, or you might not really have found people that you've gelled with, but university is a place to go and meet loads of different people. I lived in halls in my first year of university, and I never met anybody from down south, and I lived with 4 people from the south. So it was really nice to go and meet people that I wouldn't have met in everyday life without university. You can also study current issues in the business sector. So a business related degree specifically allows you to have a look what's going on in the business world at the minute, and you can apply case-based learning. So that basically means that you might see something in the news about business, maybe going into administration, something like that, and you might be studying it as a case in your seminar or your lecture the week after. And it's really good to be able to apply case-based learning, because you don't just want to think about things in theory, kind of abstract, thinking about business concepts. You want to see how they work with businesses kind of that are up, running and successful at the minute. Something that I'll touch on further on in the talk is developing those key transferable skills that employers really value when you come to finish university. And you also develop your passion and your specific interest within the subject of business, because obviously 3 years is a very long time to go and study something that you're not wholly invested in. But if it is something that you really do have a passion for, it's a really great opportunity to kind of do what you love. So thinking of business specific skills, university does offer you with lots of different skills regardless of which subject that you do. because you'll do lots of similar things, kind of referencing, proofreading, academic writing. But business in specific will lend you to some of those skills that business-based careers will want. So firstly, you'll kind of build up communication skills. And one of the things to know with this is that you probably won't realise that you're doing it throughout your degree. You won't realise that you're gaining these skills, but when you reflect, when you're at the end of your degree, you can see how much better you've got at these things. So in terms of communication skills, you can learn how to naturally communicate in a range of ways. So at the minute, you might be really good at chatting to people, getting your point across verbally, but you might not be so great at getting your point across on paper. You might find that you waffle on a little bit, you don't really know how to explain your points. And doing a business degree will really help you hone in those skills and draw out what's important both in your writing and in your speaking. So although we think of communication as talking to people, there are lots of different ways to communicate. There's body language, kind of oral presentations, written work. So there's lots of different ways for you to develop in that field. The second thing that a business degree offers you is the analytical skills that you might need in a variety of careers. So this is kind of learning how to pick apart data and extract the useful information, highlight what's important. So it's being able to kind of have a whole set of information or a whole set of text and find out what's important to you and analyse how that is important to you, and make the most of whatever text or data you're looking at. The third thing is critical thinking. So obviously when we think of the word critical, if you're in kind of school or college, you might think of it as a bad thing, like being criticised. But when you get to university, critical means just having a look at things from a very objective perspective and being able to almost play different opinions and theories off against each other. So this is developing your own academic thought. So if you might read a business study, you might disagree with the way something kind of was done or the way somebody went about something. And that, although you're not saying you're wrong, you are developing that critical thinking to think, actually, I don't think I would do this. I would do X, Y, and Z. And that is those opinions forming towards research in journal articles. And it's being able to just have a look and think, are things being done in the best ways? Is everything being really efficient? So it's really good to be able to develop that critical thinking in a very non-confrontational way. The fourth thing that you'll really develop on a business degree is problem solving. Obviously, business is very much based in the real world, and you will come across a lot of problems, some that you might expect, maybe finance issues, but there might be weather issues, all sorts of different things that come into play that you definitely won't expect. But learning those problem solving skills, learning how to become resilient and how to find solutions to make sure it's of no detriment to a business or a company, it's really great to understand how those skills are developed. And the main thing with these skills is it might be great that you have them and you might have them without not knowing, but you really need to make it explicit when you apply into jobs that you've got these skills and you know how to utilise them. And lastly, one of the business specific skills that you might not necessarily even consider is creativity and innovation. You might think that a degree in maybe drama or art would give you creativity, but actually a degree in business does help you with that creative flair, your talents and unique ideas. So at universities, they have a lot of career-based modules, which I'll touch on, but you can do things like start up your own company, and a lot of that is creating your own product or your own service, and that is where the creativity and innovation comes in. So obviously you're expecting to like kind of learn all of those transferable skills, but there's a lot more things that come along with a business degree. So when you're on a business degree, you are at a university, you're a part of the wider university, but you do also become part of the business school or the department. So you are part of that little community, the smaller group of students that are in the same position as you. At university on a business degree as well, you will experience loads of different ways of teaching. So you might be used to just lessons in a classroom at the minute, but on a business degree, you'll have some lectures, and this is where everybody on your course will be sat in a room listening to one of the tutors or the professors kind of feeding you the information. You'll have seminars, which are mostly like the classes that you'll experience at the minute, but you'll also be able to kind of do group projects, collaborate with your peers, come up with something really great. You'll be able to do interactive workshops, which you might not have experienced at school. And you also do a lot of independent study, which is where university is a little bit different. You potentially gain recognition from the industry as well on a business degree. So this does depend on the university, but your chosen course may be associated with or accredited by a professional body. So that basically means that someone like the Chartered Institute for Marketing will recognise your degree as like kind of studying the things that you need to know to be a really competent professional. So when you go out into the graduate market, it's great to draw on those things that show that you're a really great candidate. And you'll also be assessed in a variety of ways. So if at the minute you're doing A-levels, you might love exams or you might hate them. Or if you're doing BTEC, you might really enjoy the way that you're assessed continually. So you do have a variety of all of these different assessment ways. And when you're choosing your degree, it might be great to have a look at the ways you will be assessed. Because you won't only write essays or sit exams, you'll also experience kind of more practical and creative assessment. So at Edge Hill, we offer a module where you can build kind of your own business. I know a lot of other universities have very career-based practical modules like that as well. And they won't be assessed by an exam. That'll be continual kind of monitoring, seeing how you're getting along, how successful it is. And so being able to be assessed in those ways helps you know your worth in different ways, know how well you're doing, not only by how well you can sit an exam or write an essay. You also have the opportunity to specialise. So at university, rather than just being kind of taught all the information without any input from you, you get to choose optional modules on most degrees. So you can choose things that suit your particular interests. So you might have particular interests in business at the minute, or that might be something that you develop when you do get to university. So I did an English language degree, which obviously isn't particularly relevant to business, but I found that I was really, really interested in accents, so I chose a dissertation which anybody can choose, and you can kind of do anything. So I did it on accents, the people did it on grammar, so that is kind of just showing that people's interests will differ at university, but you will be supported in exploring those different areas. So you might be really interested in small, medium businesses and enterprises, and one of your friends might be really interested in accountancy in kind of big corporations, and you'll both be able to do a dissertation on the things that are interesting to you. At university on a business degree as well, you can also divide your working time. So at school or college, you kind of, in your lessons, do a little bit of homework and that's pretty much it, apart from your kind of revision. But at university, you have a lot more extra time. So you get to divide your working time. So you need to plan your time to obviously attend lectures and seminars, but you also need to factor in time to maybe go to the library, have a look for some different books to back up your independent research, some time to sit down and study. And so it's really kind of taking control of your own learning. And you also have the opportunity to get involved with the wider university. You might have external business projects going on with the university, or there might be a business or marketing society to get involved with. So getting involved is really a great way to expand those kind of interests. So thinking a little bit about opportunities, there are loads of different opportunities. If you are interested in going abroad, that's something that most universities can support you with. A lot of places will have a programme that will help you gain support with that. You can also take out a sandwich year or professional placement, which is pretty relevant for business, because you might really want to experience life within a business in a role that you're considering for your future. So you might be able to go and do kind of a paid or unpaid role for a whole year or a whole semester. Or you might just want to go and work with a small business for a few hours a week and see how that works. You can also get involved with national competitions where you compete against other universities in different professional scenarios. So, for example, being able to set up that business and set it up successfully. And also extracurricular bursaries. This is something that you might not consider going to university, but there are opportunities that enhance your degree. So for example, there might be something like a student opportunity fund where you can gain a little bit of money to help with travel, accommodation, to go to maybe a big business conference. As long as it's helping enhance your degree, a lot of universities will support you financially. Well, I won't touch too much on this bit because Angelica is going to go a bit more in depth in careers and employability. But kind of the main thing to think about is with a business degree, you're not only destined to become the CEO of a company, you're not only going to become a manager, your options really are varied. So some of the really interesting roles are things like being an urban designer, finding spaces and places that appeal and help businesses flourish, being something like a forensic accountant, having a look at people's accounts, whether they're committing fraud, kind of suspicious behaviour. But there are loads of different options out there for you, depending on what you find your interests are. So just a little bit on applications and personal statement tips. So show your motivation when you're writing to us. The admissions tutors at university really want to see why you want to study that course, what kind of gets you excited about that course. Talk about your academic ability, and this isn't just the grades that you've got at the minute. This is having a look at kind of how you can apply the skills that you have to kind of areas that you might study on the degree. Have a look at the skills and attributes that you already have and how they can help you be very competent at that degree and really flourish. It's all about kind of showing us why you want to do that degree and how you are really well prepared for that degree. And also have a look at work experience, extra reading and hobbies. So you're highlighting all of those particular experiences that make your application look more well-rounded and stand out from others. Kind of the final thing for me is thinking of things to consider when you're thinking about going to university. So what courses interest you? You can explore what's out there. Business courses aren't the only business related degrees. So you might want to go and look at business and management, international business, innovation and enterprise degrees. There's loads of different titles that a business degree falls under. Which universities offer those courses? Just because courses have the same name doesn't mean that the content is the same. So business degrees at Edge Hill versus business degrees at the University of Liverpool, for example, might have very different content depending on the staff who teach there and the research interest of the university. What kind of university do you want to go to? Do you want to go to a campus or a city university? Would you rather be closer to home or a little bit further away? And kind of the thing to always have in the back of your mind is what UCAS points or specific grades do you need for the course that you want to do? Check what is needed, including making sure you've got any previous qualifications, and kind of always have that in the back of your mind as you work towards going to university. That's it from me, really. If you've got any questions, you're more than welcome to pop them in the Q&A, and there's 3 of us who have got really good answers for those. But if you do want to discover more about Edge Hill in particular, you can visit any of our social media pages, or if you do want to kind of find out about university more generally, that we do have some resources, but also check out UniTasterDays, as John mentioned earlier. But that's it from me, so thank you very much, guys.